I'm going to return just real quick, just so people see the reminders that we have of things that are coming up or that have already passed, but they're reminders of items that we should have already submitted or are coming up to be submitted. And then when you arrive, very important that you contact us. Let us know that you're here. They're important to us and to the State Department for your visa that you let us know that you're here so that way we can change that in our system also or update it. Again, we'll provide these items, the numbers to everyone with a follow-up email after this. So on the day that you arrive here, one of the things that you will need to bring with you, and before that, I want to highlight from Kennedy's uh, living in DC slides, is that the entrance again is through the G Street entrance, which is that red building that is, if you enter through the side that has the red building across the street, you're good to go. That's the one, that's the side you want to be on. So when you come, please bring your passport and arrive no later than 8:30. You can arrive much earlier than that. Let me rephrase that. Not too early because we won't be there at 3 or 4 in the morning compared to now, but we will be there. They're waiting for you. We do have a colleague, Paul Miller, that will be there along with more colleagues from GAO that will be there to help you, escort you. Once you are able to come in, to escort you to our classroom. As a heads up, I would like to make everyone aware that there is a security checkpoint. So please allot for time to go through that, where you'll have to first show your passport to show your identity. And I'm assuming this is very similar to your buildings also, where you also have to kind of just verify who you are before you come into the building. And then we'll escort you to your to the classroom where we are all going to be there waiting for you. And when I say we, I mean Mark, Kennedy, I, and a lot more people from GEO. So we'll have the GEO leadership, some of your mentors, the sponsor coordinators. There'll be a lot of colleagues from SPEL that are waiting to be able to greet you and meet you in person. So that way we can enjoy, like meet each other and enjoy each other for that first day before we start with the classes. So it's not a training intensive day, but it will be a day to get you situated and meet a lot of people. Go to the next slide. 1 second. This is being really slow. Okay, sorry. For this time, I'm going to pass it over to Mark to see if he wants to mention anything specific for this.
Thanks, Brenda. Yeah, so we've communicated with you all about the issue of a potential shutdown of the U.S. government. Our latest news is something's been passed in our House, and basically what happens is if the Congress and the President doesn't pass legislation by the end of this week, so like Friday night, there would be a shutdown of the federal government until they enact legislation. And that has happened in the past. We have had shutdowns. We've also gotten up to the point and then they pass it, that kind of thing. So we just don't know. We have uncertainty. I tried to be as clear as I could in my message. Our point here is we plan to start on time. If there is any change, this is the key part. If there's a change or if there's a shutdown, we will communicate that with you on the next steps. So I just want you to be aware. We will get in touch with you to let you know how that would potentially impact us. But going forward, we're going with April 2nd. The what you should do part, I think this is true whether we're having a shutdown or not. As you have purchased or are purchasing your airline tickets and your accommodations, just ensure you understand what the flexibilities are. If you needed to, for example, change a flight or something like that, or arrive a little bit later, just find out what that is and try to be as flexible as you can, just in case we need those flexibilities. So that's what you should do is with the flight, with the housing. And I have, for the GEO Blue insurance, for those of you who signed up for that health insurance option, I did reach out to the person there as well, just to let him know. the situation that, just I like to just give people notice, right? As well as some of the folks who are doing our housing, like national corporate housing, which a couple of you are working with, et cetera, just to give them a heads up and see, make sure you have as much flexibility as possible. So I'll just keep it simple like that. That's really, I just wanted to bring it up because it is important, bring up what you should do, and then I'm happy to take questions on this. I don't know, Brenda, if there's another slide after this.
After this is just have a safe trip, everyone.
Okay,
And any,
there you
um,
go.
are there any questions or anything that anyone wants to cover? And I can stop sharing so we can ask questions. I see Lori. I think that's Lori. Yes, has her hand up.
Dress code for the first day.
Formal. So business, I'm sorry. I say formal as if it were a gala for the Oscars. No, not a
Suit.
gala for Oscar. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I saw another question.
Anastasia has a question.
Yes.
And Jacqueline.
Thank you a lot, Mark, for this opportunity you give me to ask the question. I have a small question. Thank you for your communication about the information you want to release to us so that even our institution may be informed about 14th of March, because there is an important information that may impact our program as our size was informed. But I would like to maybe to allow to delay a bit the deadline of submission, like of insurance. Like you say, you know, our institution should process like the the payment of insurance. As you know, the deadline was 19th. If I was still remembering the exact date, and the weekend, even though from this Friday, the whole weekend will be informed about the impact the new registration would have on this program. We will remain with 3 days, next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to process the insurance. Maybe we apologize for that if we submit it with one day of delay, of 2 days of delay. It is that I would like to communicate via this meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Anastasia. Yeah, I don't want anyone to, I want to stick with our deadlines that we have. However, if you need an extra day, it's okay. Just communicate with us. We're just trying to keep everyone on track so that you have all the things ready to go. Our assumption is we're starting on April 2nd. And so therefore everything should kind of keep moving. So we don't want too many delays because we're waiting. And we'll have some clarity, this weekend about this situation we're talking about. But I'd say for yourself, if you do need an extra day, that's fine. Just let us just if you could just let us know that it is coming. You need to have insurance to be able to come. It's a requirement. You can't be in the US in our program if you don't have the required health insurance. So just make sure you have that. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So Jacqueline, go ahead.
Thank you, Mark. I'm not far from Anastas from Rwanda, because today my HR director contacted me about this shutdown issue, because I was telling them about the deadline, meeting the deadline of health insurance and the tickets, flights information. So my HR director contacted me directly and said that They are hesitating to pay for those things because they are waiting for the right answer, whether the program will be shut down or will continue. So they are holding back because they do not have a right answer to now. So I told them if after 14th March, the program is not shut down, will you be able to pay for me on that deadline? And they said that we will do our best, but for now we cannot do anything until we get the right answer, whether we should go on with this or we should stop until the. So I was in a dilemma because I understand what they are concerned about. So they told me, and I told them I will come back to my director after this meeting because I remember yesterday you said that you will say something about the program. So I told them I will go back to them after this virtual orientation and tell them what is really happening. So I can see that up to now I still don't have the direct answer, and my office is still holding back on that. So like the Rwanda said, I think I will personally ask for a prolonged time because I'm not sure if my office will be able to meet that deadline because up to now, they're not doing anything. Although they promised me that everything is on progress. They just want to know if this program will shut down or not so that they can go ahead with the payments.
Understood, Jacqueline. That makes good sense. Uncertainty isn't good for anyone, and you know, obviously this isn't something we would like to be dealing with. What you're saying makes sense. I understand your office's concerns. Others may have that as well. You know, they need to do what they have to do. I can't direct them on how to handle this. What I would suggest is, you know, like I said, getting flexible things. I know that can cost more money, but to have that flexibility to either switch a flight or even have to cancel a flight. There's a, you know, I can't unfortunately give you any more clarity today on what that will be, but I think I can say you know, we can work with you if you need a couple more days to get that. You know, just as Anastas said about the deadline, we can work with you if you need to wait a few days to see how that's going to go.
Okay, thank
I would
you.
leave it at that. Yeah, sure. Any other questions? Oh, Ishmael, if you're trying to ask a question, I can barely hear you. Hello? I think he just has his microphone on.
Can you hear me very well? Can you hear me very well?
Yes, now I can hear you. Yes.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Sincerely grateful for your explanations. I just want to appreciate you for detailed explanations you have given in respect of these issues we are discussing at the moment. I know it's beyond you guys. Hopefully, mine is just to reiterate that we'll be glad to hear from you as soon as possible so that we can be able to make necessary readjustment. You have told us to try to make it flexible, but as soon as we hear from you, we can be able to readjust the flexibility as well in respect of dealing with the office and some other activities that we have also put on hold. I just want to say thank you for your effort in bringing this to our notice. We sincerely appreciate. We are waiting till 14 in my office. We are waiting till 14:15 so that we can go away with the insurance. As of today, ticket has been booked, but we hope the flexibility will not affect the cost at the end of the day so much. And we hope that probably there won't even be need for flexibility. I just let me say thank you to you for your effort. Thank you, everyone at your end, and thanks my fellows too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishmael. Appreciate that. Your plan sounds very good and very reasonable. While you think for a couple more minutes, I actually wrote down a couple things that have been common questions. So I just want to clear while I've got all of you on. The expiration date on your visa, a lot of them will say July 2nd. And a lot of you mentioned, though, being worried. What do I do? That's the last day of the program. Does that mean I have to go like run out of the graduation directly to the airport and leave? No, you don't. You have a 30-day grace period after that date. So you have all the way till August 2nd to remain in the United States. I would not recommend, though, after that date, like leaving actually anytime during leaving the US and coming back, but especially after that date expires, because then there's no guarantee they're going to let you back. That would be very rare, right? That someone has that ability, but you have 30 days. That's my key point. So often fellows will stay afterwards, and if you have the flexibility and the resources to do it, spend a little time traveling or seeing parts of the US before you go back home. So that's one thing. Second thing, people have asked about family members potentially joining them at some point. We wrote in our pre-arrival booklet and seeing all your lovely families, wish they could all come and just have a huge celebration because it would be quite a party. But if that does happen, we say to try to do it a little bit later. It's just very hard to balance everything with your family and the whole program. But if they come later, that's great. One thing that's clear though is we don't get involved with the visa process with family members. We help you guys with the family, though we don't process the J2 visas, et cetera. So that would be your responsibility. What we can do is I'm happy to give you a letter that basically to provide to the embassy or whoever that says you're in our program, you would like to bring family, and we're okay, we're fine with that, but that's what we can offer. And on housing, I just reiterate this, as you choose your housing, many of you have, it looks good. I've tried to comment on that housing. In particular, I always look at the commuting time. How long does it take you to get from your place to GAO every day? Because it may seem like a good deal when you're getting it, but when you get here and you're like, if you got a long commute, it can be not fun. After a few weeks, you start getting tired of it when everyone else is living closer or whatever. So I just put that out there. You may do as you please, of course, but just remember it's not only the commute, but also there are some activities that happen in the evenings that if you would like to be able to participate, it makes it a lot harder if you live far away to do that. And I know a fellow a couple of years ago that did live very far, and she wound up moving closer because it was just too much of a commute. And she wasn't able to participate in as many things, even just things like, hey, let's all go out to dinner, or a group of you want to get something to eat or something, it just becomes more challenging. So that's it. I wanted to thank everybody for doing all these things. Our Google forms are asking you for this, asking you for that. So many things you guys are keeping track of. We appreciate it. You guys are doing an amazing job. It is not easy to do that, plus balance your own family, your own work, and preparing for this. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all of that and being so mindful of our messages. G10, go ahead, please.
Most of the things are covered already, but I'm still confused about the shutdown. Is this the normal or is it because of the new administration?
G10, I would love to say this is very not normal. Unfortunately, the way the US government has been moving, and this is not the new administration, this has been going on for years and years in the United States. We are more and more, this is becoming the normal. The way just a really brief explanation, we'll have a class. Well, I guess we don't really get into appropriations law, but what it's supposed to happen is our Congress is supposed to pass a bunch of laws that fund all of our agencies, and they're supposed to do that throughout the year so that by the beginning of our fiscal year, which is October 1st, they're all get their appropriation passed and it's signed into law, and then they act. If that doesn't happen, then you have to do other things. So that used to happen, but it's been a long time since that happened. There are 13 bills that have to pass, 13 appropriations laws. That I can't know when that's happened. That's not that the way it's supposed to happen. What generally happens is they'll pass a giant, they call it an omnibus, a giant bill that funds the entire federal government. And it's not ideal because it's not as focused on each agency and what they're supposed to do. And so what the normal has become are what they call these continuing resolutions. So we're going to keep the government going for a period more of time so Congress can deliberate, et cetera. So we've had a lot more of those. And whenever we run up to a deadline like we are this week, that's the end of our continuing resolution that funds our government through the end of Friday night this week. Again, every time that happens, you have to have you have to have a law that replaces that says we will pay the agencies this, or we can't operate. So I'd like to say this is the first time. I can't believe this is crazy, but unfortunately we're kind of used to it. And unfortunately we've run into a few shutdowns over the years as well. Sometimes a shutdown can be from Friday night until Saturday morning. I mean, it's literally like that. Congress will convene and they'll pass it. And there's a short shutdown, doesn't affect anyone really, or it could be a few days. And sometimes, rarely, it can be several weeks. And that's when it gets to be obviously very challenging situation. And we that's why we don't know. We don't have a crystal ball to tell you. If I did, I would tell you all the answer right now. I don't have the answer. So we're just patiently, waiting a few more days to see where we are and just hoping it works well.
So what if it goes for the several weeks? Will this program be canceled or postponed?
That's what our email, that's what our communication is going to tell you. So I don't want to jump ahead of the game. I'd rather see what happens. And then our communication is going to very clearly tell you exactly what's going to happen if that were the case. Because if we are in a shutdown, then it does become, we have to have some parameters around how long we can be shut down, and will it affect us. But let's do one thing at a time. We'll get to this week, and then, like I said, we'll communicate. In the case of a shutdown, we'll communicate very clear next steps on how we're going to handle it.
Thank you. One more question about the grace period. Is it for the before the program as well?
It is.
Or
It is. It is.
I see. So I can move.
Oh, go ahead.
So I can move 1 week prior to the program. Is that?
Yes. That's correct.
Okay.
It's
Thank you
30,
very much, Mark.
yes,
Very,
30.
very clear.
Sure, sure. You're welcome. Rakaya, is that just a congratulations, or do you have a question? Okay. Okay, so, go ahead.
Thank you, Mark. So I have a question about those whose funding is impacted. Is it possible that the program go virtually for those who have those USIG withdraw their funding?
Thank you, Rakaya. That's another good question, because we mentioned yesterday, right? And you saw the email that I sent several weeks ago that a number of fellows were impacted by the funding challenges with losing their funding. Unfortunately, we won't be able to have a virtual component of this. It's just I won't get into the specifics. We've been very thoughtful and tried to think of those types of things. But given our constraints with having everyone in the room and keeping the program on time, we just don't think it's fair to the person online or the whole group to do that. And we would love to if we could, but I just don't think that's going to be possible given the circumstances. So. Okay, I know we're at our allotted time at 10:01.
Any
And I'm
last
not
minute
seeing.
questions? I think we're at 0.
Very good. So,
I'm going to stop the recording.
yes.